So you ready to understand how the 2026 spiritual transition actually works? Right now, as you're watching this, your body is going through something. You might feel it as exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix, sudden waves of emotion. I know I've had that, or this strange sense that reality feels different, thinner somehow. Two prophets, Edgar Cayce in the 1930s and Dolores decades later, both described this exact moment, the climax of this, which is actually going to accelerate. Not just that it would happen, but how it works. I know you guys are so interested in what are the mechanics. So we're going to cover the actual mechanics of spiritual transition. Here's what's remarkable. They were describing the same process using different words, separated by over 50 years, and we're in it right now. So today I'm walking you through exactly how this transition works, what's happening in your body, your consciousness, your reality, how does that work, and why understanding the mechanics changes everything. You ready for this? Let's go. Welcome to Landria, Onkka on YouTube. I'm here to help you break through the fear. There's no reason for it. We are one beautiful family. When are we going to understand that? We're doing that now. Are you? It's a requirement to go to the 5D world. The 5D world is unity. And if you're still in judgment, separation, hanging on to a material world, then you are not going into unity. And we must work on that now. I hope that you will subscribe. Please like my channel. You guys are really helping me out with that. And I love your comments. I hope that you'll post comments and let me know what you're going through so that I can better understand and give you more videos on this. Also, I've got all kinds of free stuff in the description and up here, free inspiration. I'm going to release a soul journey guide, okay? How do we go through this together? It's a brand new email series which I'll launch before the first of the year. And if you sign up for free inspiration, you can learn how you find something you love and we can monetize it. Get this in order, get out of the fear. How do you get over lack? All these different things. I'm going to teach you how to do this because that's a higher frequency. So let me show you something that will shift how you see what's happening right now. Edgar Cayce, in reading 3976-26, from 1941, described a time when humanity would face what he called the great choice, evolution toward Christ consciousness, which he defined as unity with all life or remaining in separation and ego. There's an or in there. That is the basement and the penthouse. My father has many mansions. We're in one of those mansions. We call it being human, and planet Earth is the mansion hosting us. We get choice as to where we live in that frequency. Let's go into detail. He said this wasn't a one-time event. All right, so don't freak out. We talked about December 21st coming up. That's a gateway point. It's a special day, and I hope you're preparing your body for that. Let's talk about how you do that. As Edgar Cayce stated, it is a process that we go through. So I want you to know no one gets left behind. It's a process. Different times for everyone, different choices, different frequencies. It's a gradual awakening where, and this is the key, mind is the builder. Your thoughts, your consciousness literally construct which reality you experience. There's abundance in this universe. It's limitless. So now, decades later, Dolores, her quantum healing hypnosis technique clients, she was hypnotizing people, accessing what she called the subconscious or higher self, described something they called the split. These were higher beings that would come through these patients, or I should say clients, and give her all this information. That's where her books came from. And if you're not familiar with them, you're going to see them pop up. Go review some of them. They're fascinating. Old Earth, fear-based, 3D consciousness. New Earth, love-based, 5D consciousness. That's it, my friend. That's it. You're either in it or you're not. Some people say, well, I'm angry or fearful. I say, you got to work on that. Ask yourself why. I'm going to help you get through all of that. This is what my teachings are all about. There are two versions of reality. Actually, there's a lot more, but let's just simplify it for our little human brains. Two versions of reality. Diverging based on individual vibrational frequency. What does it mean by diverging? They're splitting off. They're splitting off. You cannot be in a room of darkness when you're shining light. It's a room of light, right? You can't bring darkness into a room of light and expect it to be dark. And this is why the two don't go together. Someone asked me how that works. And I said, well, if you're listening to rock and roll and you tune into classic music, you're aware that there's a station with rock and roll, but you're hearing classic and you don't hear rock and roll as long as you're tuned into that. There are those that are listening to rock and roll. By the way, I'm not picking on the music right now. I'm talking about a frequency tune in, dial in. If they're listening to rock and roll, they may not even be aware that classical music exists. And so they're not tuning into it. And so they say, what? There's rock and roll. What are you talking about? There's nothing else. And that's how it works. Once you go into the other frequency, you're aware of the basement. You're aware of the other station. Okay, so we have knowledge, but we still function on that higher frequency. Does this make sense? It's a frequency, it's a mindset, it's a viewpoint, it's love, it's unity. We think completely different about our world and what we are. And we're going to get some real wake up calls in 2026. I'm going to talk more about that coming up here in some videos about exactly what's going to happen out here, because as we go into a higher frequency, as a collective, the more of us that do that, the more it expands the entire planet's frequency, and it's an invitation for a lot of things that's beyond the physical world, and none of it is coming from fear or negativity. None of it, because if we're on the higher frequency, we're now tuned into that. So now it's like, wow, there's all of these amazing things here. Intuition and psychic abilities, knowing things you never imagined, and having that love and unity and working together and having total respect for the planet. So this is different terminology that Cayce and Cannon had. Same mechanics. Cayce said, what one thinks continually, he becomes. He becomes. Thoughts are things. This is serious stuff. We have to monitor this, and this is what I work with you on, okay? We're going to continue. 3 seconds to manifest anything. You guys have seen that video? It's got like 1 million views on my channel. Why? It's so simple. It took me 2.7 seconds. I demonstrated that you can take a negative thought, and you have to catch yourself. You have to be conscious and switch over. Switch over. And that's from reading 3744-4. What one thinks continually, he becomes. You are in control. It's not happening to you. So lower frequencies think that everything's separate, thinks there's something out here happening to me, or they did something bad and it affects me. No, it doesn't. You're in control. When you go into higher frequency, you have gratitude and love, you open up the door for that. And that's what's going to happen on December 21st. We're going to have another shift, another rebirth, another opportunity for you to change anything you want in your life and start to experience this great euphoria and joy. And this planet will absolutely go into another era. Never in the history of Earth have we ever seen this. Cannon's clients said, your vibration determines which Earth you experience. It is an individual experience. This is why Source blasted off into seemingly separate experiences, adventures, so that it could experience this as Landria and Michael and Barbara and all these different, it appears to be, but one Source is actually experience all of it at once. And you are that source. So you're thinking yourself as an individual, but you're actually not. You're affecting absolutely everything, but you get to experience this adventure and all at once. It's beyond our comprehension, but trust me on this. What you do affects the whole, all right? So both are describing consciousness-based reality selection. Your inner state creates your outer experience. I'm sorry, but you can't blame anybody. Those of you who took my Mind Over Money quiz, we have the martyr, the self-sabotage. It's always somebody else's fault. It's a mindset. And you can change that overnight, right? You can change it immediately, and it will create a different outer experience, but it takes rewiring. And see so many people, they take the quiz and then they don't take the course. I said, well, you're going to go stay exactly where you are. You cannot do this alone. All right, that's what teachers are for. So mind is the builder. Both pointed to the mid-2020s. So Dolores Cannon started at 2012 when the Mayan calendar changed. All right. Now we're looking at events happening. So they're not actual dates that they gave so much as time periods and events. And those are happening now. Okay. And it's mid-20s as the intensification period. We're not waiting for this. We're in it. We can actually affect the weather, health, crime, abundance. Nobody ever has to starve when we not just think on a higher frequency, but we actually then work as a community because there are no limits. And you will see a different earth, and I believe it's already happening. We can actually assist in our weather. Why? She is part of us too, Earth. And she is absolutely in tune with our vibration. The more we respect her, the less upheaval we're going to see. So that'll be an upcoming video. I want you to know that's how powerful you are. So let's get into the mechanics because this is where it gets fascinating. So this is not a physical relocation. So I shared that in the last couple of videos. People are thinking, well, my kids are going to be gone and I'm going to be off here. Like, nope, doesn't work that way. You're going to be in the same room and you're going to say, don't you see this? Aren't you experiencing it? And they'll say, no, you're cray cray. And that's a possibility. But let's remember, people in density, they always have to see things to believe it. We're going to start seeing some things. Some of them will too. They'll get glimpses of maybe orbs or light beams or coincidences that truly are impossible. They will start to see that, and then maybe they will start to believe that there is something more that we can't understand, but it will be second nature to you. All right. I just washed my hair, so I'm looking a little scruffy. You're not going to wake up on a different planet. That's thinking 3D. You're not being beamed up. This is a consciousness shift that changes how you perceive and interact with reality. So Cayce was clear about this in reading 2574-1. We are already Christ consciousness. Okay, this is super cool. We are already Christ consciousness. We are that came in here and we forgot. He says we must stop believing in our limitations and embrace our fullness. That's Edgar Cayce. That's pretty cool. We are already Christ consciousness. It is not a place you go to. It's just a choice. Everyone is the Christ consciousness with a veil, and we forgot so that we could experience darkness and sadness and all the things that we don't experience as the Christ consciousness in its full form, right? So we go back and we explore this, we make choices, we learn, and we go back into Christ consciousness. Actually, we don't just go back into it. We recognize that it was always here. And then the other falls off. All right. The other is the choices we made that we no longer need. Does this make sense? You already are perfect. So here's the translation of that. The higher consciousness isn't something you achieve. Just like law of attraction. There's no law that you attract something. All right. You are in that frequency or you're not. I can't attract the penthouse down to the basement. I got to go up to the penthouse, right? So throw the law of attraction idea that I'm going to do something and bring it to me. You have to go into it. And consciousness is the same thing. The higher consciousness isn't something you achieve. It's something you remember. Is this cool? I love this. I mean, this really says it all. You're remembering, you already are. So you're the beggar with the robe, walking around, shuffling around. I just saw a lady out here shuffling around with her pants were down around her ankles. And I'm like, pull your pants up. Like, okay, oh, yes, that's right. I have my pants, but guess what? All we have to do is put our hands into our pockets that are loaded with jewels. And we're walking around in these, tattered robes, and we already possess the wealth and abundance, the joy, the gifts of the universe. So the higher consciousness isn't something you achieve, it's something you remember. We forgot here. If we remembered, there's no game to play. Big whoop. You're not becoming something new. You're removing the blocks to what you already are. All right? I teach this. I say break through fear. It's there, but we're just not allowing it to control us anymore. Cannon's clients described it the same way. You're not moving to a new earth. You're tuning into new earth frequency. So in other words, we all shift and we become a different community. We become loving and beautiful. Same people. We're just operating on the higher frequency. Is this making sense now? We are now operating. We're all tuned into classical music or whatever music you love. And we all say, wow, do you hear that? It's beautiful. And then we have nothing to fear anymore. Okay? We don't always have to agree. This isn't about us agreeing on politics and stuff. You're going to look back and say, this is petty garbage. Let it go. It's like changing the radio station. The station was always broadcasting. You're just now adjusting your receiver. It's always broadcasting. There's always rock and roll and classical music. You are adjusting your receiver, and guess what? It's gradual, not instant. Okay? Even those who have had spontaneous awakenings, actually wasn't spontaneous so much. There was a lot of pain and things that led up to that. It was gradual and then it shifted, right? Eckhart Tolle is a great example. This is why you might feel like you're in limbo right now because you are. You're in the transition zone. And by the way, every human on the planet is experiencing this. The majority will not tune in and make a different choice. They're going to fight to stay where they are because they know something's happening. Something is shifting. They know it's different. People are going to be different, but they're not going to want to participate. And we have to allow that. Be there for those who want to make that choice. All right. Introduce them, show them other ways, assist, but do not think that you need to change somebody else. That is their individual journey. We are all part of the one. Nobody gets left behind. I'll say that again. Cayce describes spiritual evolution as incremental. Reading 146-2 says, mind is the builder, whether in the material, the social, mental, or spiritual. Right? Mind is not your brain. Mind is your free will soul, the intelligence of the universe. Every thought, every choice, every moment of awareness is building your experience. Everything. I'm just having one little thought. Done. Yes. We got to get it under control. This is why meditation is so important. Cannon's clients said the same thing. The split isn't one dramatic moment. It's a sorting process that happens over months and years. That's why I said we're in it. We're deep into it. People are recognizing, people that you never expected are talking very differently right now, even on YouTube. You're not flipping a switch. You're gradually shifting frequency through thousands of small choices. And you're going to notice the friends and the family who are now talking different and the ones who, of course, maybe you're not seeing so much of them. That's why some days you're going to feel amazing, light, connected, synchronistic. And other days you feel dense, heavy, stuck. You're oscillating between frequencies as you stabilize in the higher vibration, but you still have to make that choice, remember? Okay, you have to make the effort. Third, physical symptoms are real and necessary. We have dense bodies. These babies, we've got junk DNA. It's firing up. It's going to affect you. Okay, your body is recalibrating. Cayce taught that consciousness changes manifest physically because what one thinks continually, he becomes. Mind and body are one system, right? So you become that. So when you go to a higher frequency and you have all these abilities, your body has to adjust for that. So if you're concerned, don't worry about it. Just continue to practice your higher practices. So here's what people are experiencing right now. Exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix. Your cells are literally upgrading their energetic capacity, right? So if you go, run, 10 miles, you're going to be exhausted. Your muscles need to recover. It's the same thing, right? Emotional purging. Old fear-based patterns surfacing to be released. Stuff showing up. It's almost like I'm having a life review all the time. All these things are coming in. I'm like, why am I thinking of that? And letting it go, all right? Just let it all go. Time distortion, hours feel like minutes or minutes feel like hours. Maybe you're shifting times, you're missing times. No, you probably weren't abducted. It's just a time shift. Heightened intuition, your connection to higher self strengthening, that's happening to me. In fact, if I misplace something, I go into meditation state and I know exactly where it is. You can do this. You can start doing it today. Physical sensations will be tingling, pressure in your third eye. I've got these two spots that showed up right here. Heart expansions, dietary changes, body rejecting dense foods, craving lighter nutrition. You might not even want to eat, okay? Sleep disruption, waking up at 3, 4 a.m. during high frequency download periods. Yeah. Cannon's clients described these exact symptoms. They called it ascension symptoms. Cayce would have called it the physical manifestation of spiritual awakening. So If you're experiencing this, you're not sick. You're not broken. You're transitioning. Yay! So just go with it. No fear. Don't try and label it. Just know if you're practicing, you're on the right track. So let's talk about the choice mechanism. Now, here's the part that both Cayce and Cannon emphasize, and it's the most empowering thing you'll hear today. This is your choice. You have nothing to fear. Nothing anybody does. People are saying, well, what if people go into conflict or whatever? First of all, I don't believe we're going to have anything major. And actually, there are no predictions from anybody, let's just say, who has a consistent track record that we will go into major conflict. And I'm talking about no more world conflicts, okay? There will always be small things going on all the time in conflict, and the egos are going to struggle terribly to try and hang on to their world. They're going to program us even harder to go into fear, to fear any extraterrestrial visitations, to fear orbs, to fear any holistic practices. They're going to tell us that this is wrong. They're going to push more and more the stuff that's so not good for us, all right? They're conditioning you and dumbing you down to buy this stuff. When we go to high frequency, we're not the same consumers, and they lose their power. Don't you be buying any garbage for your kids or yourself, plastic stuff. I have a store down in my description. Go in there, non-plastic, non-toxic, vegan, planet-friendly, animal-friendly. Go in there and you will find some things in there. But ask yourself, what else do you need? You are abundant. This is your choice, not fate, not predetermined. It is your choice. The dependent archetype wants to say, oh, it's somebody else is going to lead me. No, it's ultimately you. Yes, go to others, listen, take in whatever you need to learn. But go in here and ask yourself, does this feel right? Is this higher frequency teachings or is it fear-based? Cayce's reading 3976-26 says, let every soul not call on their God, but the one God. There's just one thing. It's all things. He's saying this isn't about which religion you follow or which spiritual path you're on. It's about your consciousness. Are you choosing unity or separation? Separation is on the low frequency. It fragments what we are. And of course, unity is going back to the oneness of which we are. That's the origin of everything. And it is actually everything. Anything else is just a belief. And if you believe it, it's true, right? So you don't want to tell somebody they're wrong because they believe what they do and so do you. And that creates your reality. So every moment you're voting with your attention. Okay, we're going to talk about old earth, new earth. Old earth frequency, fear-based. Somebody said to me, oh, something about my black hat and there's white hats. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't watch that crap. Are you? So my question to this person is, I know that you're a beautiful person, but you are watching that. This is what you're spending your time on. Fear-based thinking comes from a story and information you're getting, and then all of a sudden you start to believe it. And there's nothing to fear. Okay? Victim consciousness. It's happening to me. Mommy and daddy didn't love me. It's teachings. They're your best teachers. And by the way, they came from that and that and that. Let's break the cycle. Separation, us versus them. No, 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 no. They're wrong. They shouldn't. The Bible says, listen, that Bible has been revamped so many times. There's so much missing from it. It isn't funny. What do you feel? Go into your heart. Scarcity mindset. Mind over money. I got all these people in that list. They're not doing anything. They just want to know, oh, I know what my mindset is. And then they continue to live it, scarcity and scarcity. And they can change it just like that. The need to control outcomes. You got to let it go. Got to let it go because if you're in a high frequency, the best possible outcome will come to you. But I lost my job or I lost this. Like, great. Something else better is coming. Yes, accept that. Judgment of self and others. That's a real low one. You judging other people? Yeah, most people do. We do. We judge everything, pretty, ugly, even that, right? Attachment to material validation. Do you really need this or that, right? There's so many other ways to enjoy the material world. And you know me, I promote the material world. I tell you, yes, use it, but we're going to use it in a different way for unity, sharing, enjoying it, enjoying the experience, gratitude, but we don't rely on it for our happiness. All right. The new earth frequency, love-based thinking, creator consciousness. You guys in my digital explorers, we say, what do you love? Let's find that first, and then let's build a business around it. Let's create an online business, but let's find what you love. Let's be creators. That's the first stage of my training. Unity. So if you're an entrepreneur, go over to digitalexplorers.net. I got a free webinar for you down there. Unity. We're all connected. You know it. Yes, you're very different. I don't have to agree with you or approve, but we're all still all connected. So what I do is going to affect that. And if I'm judging and separating, down in the basement, abundance mindset. When you go into abundance, things appear, it's beautiful, yes, and you're like, there's plenty, I'm going to share, right? Don't have to hang on to things. Trust in divine timing. Let the timing go. You don't know what could happen if you waited a little longer. But the universe is all intelligence. And with us forgetting things, we're not always connected to that. We have to go into what's called faith, compassion for all paths, inner validation. You got to go in here and say, guide me, guide me. I'm your instrument of love, and I am unlimited. Thank you for all the beautiful gifts that you're bringing. Allow me to be a light on this planet. Allow me to be my best, and I receive that. Cannon's clients said the same thing. The split isn't being done to you. You're choosing it thought by thought, emotion by emotion, action by action. We got to take some action, peeps. And here's what's beautiful. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to get it right 100% of the time. Somebody said, my friend in Scotland said, I don't know if I can give up my alcohol, was it beer or wine? I said, you don't have to. It's everything in moderation, right? I'm pretty sure Christ served wine at a wedding, right? Hey, listen, we are in a material world, but what extreme are you taking things to? And why are you doing certain things? Is it to satisfy something you feel is missing, or are you celebrating, right? So Cayce taught that spiritual growth is about direction, not perfection. Are you moving toward unity consciousness? Then you're on the path. Cannon's client said it's about your dominant frequency. You still have fear moments. You're going to have them. That's why I said we don't eliminate fear. We break through it. You'll still have ego reactions. That's human. The question is, where do you return to? What's your baseline? So if once you're aware of it, you go, oh, there's that feeling again. Or, oh, I'm judging. And you observe it, okay? Guys, when you sign up for free inspiration, I'm going to take you through all of these steps. And we're going to deal with it because 2026 is going to be both challenging, exciting, and there's some surprises that are going to happen that are going to be amazing. If you're on that spiritual level, other people go, nothing happened. So if your baseline is love, trust, compassion, connection, you're tuning into the new earth. If your baseline is fear, control, separation, scarcity, anger, judgment, you're staying in old earth frequency. You got to get a hold of that. Why? Why am I angry? That's another light being that's in pain. That's why they're doing this stuff to me, because they're in fear and they're in pain. Why would I hate that or resent it? Because the ego says, I've been damaged. You can't be damaged. You're perfect. You are already Christ consciousness in human form. He proved that we are not that, right? That no one dies, and you can change your baseline right now. This moment, this breath, that's the power Cayce and Cannon both wanted you to understand. So what does this actually look like as it unfolds? Let me paint you a picture based on what both sources describe. Phase one, the awakening, where many of you are right now, and you might not think you are. I think you're probably way more awakened than you realize, because you're thinking, well, I'm not in this total euphoria. I've been in that place, the foresight. I mean, it was freaky. You're not even attached to your body, but you can't function sometimes like that. Eckhart Tolle did that. I read his book. I went, oh, that's what happened to me. You'll actually, after a few years, you'll start to come down a little bit more into your body because you don't even want to relate to the world. I mean, you could go up on the mountain and eat rice and never talk to anybody, but we need to be in this world to make a difference. So you're going to feel the emotions. You're going to be human. All right. You start noticing reality doesn't make sense the way it used to. I'm like, none of this makes sense. I don't get it. I don't get what ego needs, why it needs it when we hold power. Synchronicities are going to increase. You can't tolerate toxic people or environments anymore. I can't watch anything like that. Old relationships fall away. You're drawn to spiritual content like this video, right? If you're here, congratulations. You're sitting here listening to all this. Why? You're connecting to it. It's a higher frequency video. Cayce called this the stirring of the soul, your higher consciousness. It's activating. We've got some exciting things coming up. Cannon's clients called it the wake up call. Your soul is remembering why you're here. You're starting to remember. This makes sense now. Those of you who have not read my book, I explain exactly what's happening, the tipping point, and when you go into that end game of you stop asking questions. I call it the knowing. Phase 2 is the purge, the uncomfortable middle. So some of you might be going through this. Everything that's not aligned with your higher frequency comes up to be released. Old wounds, maybe that's why stuff is showing up and I'm feeling like, wow, what made me think of that? Old wounds, childhood trauma, limiting beliefs, fear patterns. You're taking a look at it and going, damn, I'm going to let that go, right? This is where people think they're going backwards and you're not. You're clearing. Just look at it. Don't let it control you. Go, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. Go, okay, I'm going to forgive myself. I learned I'm not the same person anymore. So Cayce taught the soul seeks expression. Whatever blocks that expression must be released. All right. The soul's learning. It does stupid things. It gets angry. So now that's not you anymore. So release it. Allow yourself to learn and become that new person that releases the veil and it falls away and you go back into your Christ consciousness, which is all loving and forgiving. Cannon's clients describe this as the dark night of the soul phase. It's temporary. It's necessary. Some of you will go down deeper into that or not. By the way, you're not going to go deep into the physical world. This is all here. It's happening here, right? You're going to come out of that. It's just all this stuff coming to the surface, and it's necessary. It's the caterpillar dissolving before coming the butterfly. So if you're in this phase right now, I see you. It's hard, but you're not stuck. You're processing. Let's talk about phase 3, the stabilization. That's the breakthrough. Yay! You start feeling lighter, more peaceful. Even if you see stuff going on, it doesn't mean that doesn't happen. So what some of you are saying, well, the is it going to go away? No. Craziness is still going to be there. We all decided to be on this planet together. We're one family, but you're going to feel lighter. You're going to say this, it's ridiculous, silly. You're going to be more peaceful. You're like, it's not the end of anything. Less reactive. Synchronicities become your normal. You trust the flow. You feel connected to something bigger and you go, that's okay. Let them play it out. I don't have to get involved in the cray-cray because I know something beautiful is playing out here and I'm going to participate in that. So you got to stay in that, right? Don't get sucked in with the media and the social and what your parents say. Or don't get sucked in and just smile and say, I am perfect. And so are they. Cayce described this as entering into Christ consciousness, living from unity awareness, and just say, they're beautiful. They just don't know it yet. Okay, they just haven't found it yet. And if I live that beauty, I'm shining my light, and that's how I affect them. Not by telling them, you need to meditate. Some of you gals, my husband, he watches the news. I can't relate to him anymore. Oh, then you're being tested, my friend. That's your test. He's not the problem. Right? We signed up for this. Can you love him anyways and say, okay, honey, you're watching the news. I'm going to go for my walk. I'll be back in a half hour and then we'll go have dinner. That's it. This is your teaching. Does this make sense? Cannon's clients describe this as anchoring in the new earth frequency. Your vibration stabilizes in the higher dimension. It's just going to be second nature. You will never want to go back again. You will never want to gossip. You're never going to want to go into these other phases where somebody else is a problem. You won't want to have any conversations about politics and none of that stuff. They are what they are. They're lower frequency, but just you alone gets to determine if you participate in it. If you do, you become entangled, frequency goes down. And here's what both sources say happens next. Your reality starts reflecting your frequency. We can see the changes. You attract different people, higher vibe, conscious and supportive. Opportunities appear that align with your soul purpose. Your health improves as your body fully recalibrates, right? It may be gradual, but you'll see slowly it's going to start to improve. You experience more joy, ease, flow, and synchronicity. And just remember, when you're high frequency, your immune system goes up. I don't get sick. I went on that cruise. Let's not talk about the cruise. Everyone got sick. And they were sick for like a week. I got it, and 48 hours later, and by the way, I hadn't been sick in years, 48 hours and it blew out and I was done with it. So you'll find that, yes, you're still human. You're still going to be exposed to certain things, but your immune system is going to protect you. So things that other people experience will not be a big deal to you. All right. So you're going to experience all these beautiful things, not because life becomes perfect. Again, you might get sick. You might have all these things that you're like, why me? It's like, okay, something's supposed to happen here. So it's not going to be perfect, but you're going to react differently to it because you've changed. You're perceiving and creating from a different consciousness. You don't see things as problems anymore. Phase 4, the service. You guys in this? I'm in this. The service. Your soul mission activates. Both Cayce and Cannon emphasize this. Once you stabilize in higher consciousness, you become a lighthouse. You don't have to preach. You don't have to convince anyone. Your presence, your frequency helps others awaken simply by being near you. All right. I've had so many people when I walk in the room say, wow, there's a presence here. They're picking up on my presence and they like it, right? Cayce called this being the light. Cannon's clients called it holding the frequency for others. So that's why you're watching this video. You're not just transitioning for yourself. You're transitioning to help others transition. That's the light worker role both prophets described. It's not just for you. This is not being selfish. You are lighting up the world. You're showing what you truly are. So now here's why this moment, right now, we're talking about December 2025 and going into 26, it's going to be an exciting year, is so critical. Both Cayce and Cannon pointed to this time period as the acceleration point. The sorting process, it's going to intensify. The frequencies diverge more dramatically. You're going to see beautiful things. People are going to be showing more creativity. I've noticed that. Why? Because I'm tuning into that. And I'm sure there's other people saying the world is getting worse and worse. One of my friends said, one of our friends is doom scrolling. So she's going to see the world differently than I do. I don't even know any of that stuff. So you've got to watch it. You've got to stay in that high frequency. Cayce scholars interpret his cycle readings as pointing to this time period. And I'm looking at December 21st, 2025, just weeks away, just a couple weeks away, is a major cosmic gateway. It's the end of a 26,000 year cycle. That's happening. Again, it's not an exact date. It is a cycle. Everything goes in cycles, right? We look at retrograde Mercury. That affects us. So people are like, I don't understand this. The planets, our energies, everything's connected. Just like we're in a cycle in the solar systems, the planets, it all affects us energetically. So December 21st is a great opportunity. Right? Cannon's clients consistently mention 2025, 26 as the period where the choice becomes clear, where you can no longer straddle both frequencies, where your dominant vibration locks in. Now, I don't remember her saying 25, 26, but I do know she spoke of this era, and the things that they were discussing are events happening now. Okay. And we know it. You feel it, don't you? So this doesn't mean you can't change after 2026. This is eternal. We are eternal. All right. Cayce taught that spiritual growth is always possible, even beyond physical death, which she called passing through God's other door. But these two prophets, 70 years apart, same vision of humanity split. This isn't about being left behind or chosen. Chosen looks like, oh, somebody's more special than somebody else. They aren't. We're all perfect. And we're all special. We're all chosen. We all chose to be here. We chose our specific lives. And some of you might think that yours isn't so special, but that can be further from the truth. All right? Every soul is on their perfect path. Some need more time and density to learn lessons. All right? Don't fret about that. The split ensures everyone gets exactly what they need for their evolution. So are you ready to step into this new era, this new space? It takes work every day and it starts to feel really good. And you're going to realize something has changed in me. And all of a sudden things are going to come to you and beautiful, amazing things will start to show up, miracles, and you're not expecting them, right? Or something that you desire. You're saying it'll happen when it's going to happen because I'm eternal, right? You never die. You just transition. But this is your golden opportunity right now. I hope you enjoyed this little tour I took you on of Edgar Cayce and Dolores Cannon, two of my favorites that have amazing prophecies, different ways completely. But what I love about both of them, they are not accessing one individual source, an angel or some guide or whatever. They're accessing something bigger. Dolores accessed the beings on the other side, a collective group of higher beings. And Edgar Cayce went into the Akashic records. So they were not talking to one individual thing. They were talking to that big collective intelligence that is actually source. We're going to talk more about this because I want to prepare you and tell you some things that are going to happen that I think are going to excite you. One of my predictions, as I shared a few videos ago, was that I feel something very big is happening, and all I can tell you is it's going to be on a high level, a high level. And I don't know if that means government or literally a high level. I don't know, but I feel it's going to be extremely revealing. It's going to create a global change for us, all of us. We're going to experience something really big, okay? And it's nothing to fear. So keep working on this beautiful space here. Let's connect and go into meditations, send your light and love, and receive and say thank you, right? Gratitude says, I have, because you do. You're unlimited. I hope you share my videos. Click that bell so it lets you know when the next one's coming out. Leave a comment. Give me a thumbs up. It's going to tell YouTube we're not going to listen to the conspiracy garbage. It's so silly, isn't it? I don't even get it. But if you support channels like mine, you're going to change this planet, the algorithms, not just on YouTube, but energetically beyond this planet. And maybe we can earn our space here in this universe. You are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Go check out the description. See all the good stuff I got down there for you. Namaste.